From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your morning update.
You want to go where to buy a new refrigerator? Steve's A to Z Appliance in Cottonwood? In Cottonwood? Just a 10-minute drive. And they'll save us money. New and used, honest, reliable, factory-trained repair service and parts, and they'll save us money. And dispose of this thing? We gotta make the short drive to Steve's A to Z. Thanks, son.
Steve's A to Z Appliance, front and main streets in Cottonwood. Drive a little, save a lot.
Well, good morning, everyone. We still have more scattered showers in the forecast. One last day, kind of this last little push of some showers trying to move through today before we dry things out and warm things up. Now, snow levels today still mainly above 4,000 feet, but as mentioned, it's scattered showers, so it's not going to be a lot of snow out there either. We get that first taste of spring later this week, as early as really tomorrow, but really the main impacts, the warmer air, won't be here until we get to the end of the week around Thursday, Friday. And speaking of Thursday, Friday, also some gusty winds associated with this warmer trend as well, at least for the first part of the warming trend. So for today, I do expect to see some breaks in the clouds, especially in the valley, but in those breaks, we're also seeing the chance for some scattered showers as well. Siskiyou, Modoc County, some breaks in the clouds too, but of course looking at the chance for showers throughout the day. That's also the case in the eastern mountains. This is one of those situations where pretty much anyone has that chance to see a stray shower or maybe even a brief period of some moderate rainfall, but it's not going to last for very long and it's not going to amount to much for anyone. All right, so let's take a look at the rainfall totals over the last 48 hours. Not bad in some spots. You can see the north end of the valley as expected. Seeing the bulk of the rain in the valley with 1.24 out in West Redding. There you can see out in Red Bluff about 0.62. Chico, not bad. Look at that, 0.83, but not nearly as much rainfall to the south in Oroville at only 0.08. But of course, much more along the coast, 1.86 for Crescent City. Eureka, about 0.93. And of course, much less rainfall off to the north and to the east. Let's take a look at that satellite image here. You've got a big area of low pressure kind of spinning to the north here. But what we've got here is this trough of low pressure. That main area of instability is now pushed off to the east. And now we're just looking at some cool and unsettled air. You see the speckled clouds? That's the colder and unstable air that's in place here for today. That's going to keep us a little wet in some areas. So you can see this morning, we're seeing those scattered showers. We take you into the noon hour today, scattered showers. Now notice the valley is not seeing as much activity here. Most of it will be along the coast and of course snow flurries off into the higher elevations. All right, then we take into the afternoon, we may see some development here for parts of the valley. Now we could get what we call convective showers, where if we get enough clearing in the first half of the day, that may produce enough instability, produce a few showers here later on in the afternoon. But you can see things starting to kind of taper off here for the coast. By 6 p.m., most of the activity is now on east of the valley with some scattered snow flurries there, even some clearing for the valley, but mostly cloudy skies still for Trinity County westward into Del Norte and Humboldt counties. By 10 o'clock tonight, things are beginning to clear out, and I do expect to see mainly sunny skies. All right, through the day on Wednesday, there could be some clouds kind of filtering into the north around Modoc, Siskiyou, and parts of Del Norte and Humboldt counties as well. And then Wednesday, boy, those skies really clear out. And of course, looking at those warmer temperatures moving in by Thursday as well. So here's your Trinity County neighborhood forecast. Temperatures today still on the cool side, but somewhere in the upper 40s to low 50s. Your North Coast neighborhood forecast, 54 degrees in Fortuna. Garberville, about 56 and 52 degrees in Shelter Cove. Take you up north, 54 for Smith River. 48 in Orleans, and there's Willow Creek with a high of about 52 degrees. And then, of course, we take a look at your Siskiyou County neighborhood forecast. Temperatures in the mid to upper 40s for your daytime highs. Modoc County, about 43. Out in Fort Bidwell as well as Tule Lake. 44 in Canby and Calpines. There you can see out in 80 and a high of about 43 degrees. Eastern Mountains neighborhood forecast. Mid-40s, give or take. Although you can see a little bit warmer in Paradise at about 53 degrees for your daytime high. And how about your Valley neighborhood forecast? How about 60 for Elk Creek, 58 for Pasquinta, and Durham, about 61 degrees. We take you up north, 55 out in Lakehead, 54 degrees for Whiskeytown. Palisadro, about 59, and Cottonwood, a high of about 60 degrees. So here's your 7-day outlook, and you can see the temperatures are increasing after today. We're up to 70 by Thursday, low to mid 70s by Friday, Saturday, upper 70s by your St. Patrick's Day and into Monday. So of course, much warmer weather as we get to the end of the week, and not to mention that next weekend. But we've got some cooler air that's eventually going to start to move in. And if you want to hear more about that, stick around. We're going to get in your deep dive forecast and talk about the overall setup. So let's start off with a satellite image here. Here you can see the trough of low pressure right here, right? So we do have that storm system that moved through last night. It brought us some decent rain in some areas. So the last 2 days, you saw those totals, rainfall totals, they were pretty impressive in some areas here. But now again, we've got that cold and unstable air right here. The speckled clouds, that's an indication of that colder air that's moved on in. But again, we talk about that trough axis. This is where the trough axis is. That is all moving eastward. So we're seeing that highest amount of instability now off to our east. But there still is enough of that unstable air in place to give us some of those scattered showers. So again, there's that trough axis. There's the highest level of instability. We're kind of on the back side of that, but still in that northwesterly flow to give us some of that activity. The warmer air continues to drive up northward here. So by Thursday, Friday, we've got that big ridge of high pressure. And this is what we call an omega block. All right, if you're familiar with the Greek alphabet, it's called that because that's what it looks like. You've got the omega Greek letter right here, and it's known as an omega block. On either side of the ridge of high pressure, you've got low pressure, and they're typically closed off areas of low pressure. This is quite an amplified ridge of high pressure, and that's what's going to give us those temperatures in the valley. Still somewhere in the mid to upper 70s is what I'm expecting here for the mountains, low to mid 60s. And for the coast, temperatures in the mid to upper 60s. Now that ridge of high pressure will start to kind of shift eastward, break down a little bit as some storm systems ride over it. Not quite as pronounced of that omega block we were just talking about, but then that all shifts southward and eventually some colder air pulls down. Starting to feel more and more confident in this overall setup because the long-range forecast models agree that this is pretty much what's going to happen. So some cooler air moving in by the beginning to middle of next week is when we see that happen. Now, I'm not anticipating still at this point to see a ton of rainfall associated with that, but we'll take a look at that here in a second. Right now, let's take a look at that temperature outlook. And yes, the Climate Prediction Center still keeps us well within that above normal category here through the 22nd of this month. So looking at futurecasts now with the potential for rain. We're also going to talk about the winds as well. So here's today, there are the scattered showers. This is all shifting eastward. High pressure right here begins to start to build on in. There's that omega block I was talking about right here. But with that omega block as well, in between this low and this low, you've got some gusty winds in the forecast. So what's going to happen is we're going to be looking at Thursday, Friday, some gusty winds at times, I think, for many of us. And then as that kind of starts to kind of move out and break apart, we see the winds die down by this weekend, but we still have that warmer air in place for Saturday and Sunday, keeping those temperatures up and, of course, keeping us dry as well. But then we start to see some cooler air coming in from the Gulf of Alaska, and then it rides down to the south here. There's that cooler air moving in by Wednesday. So you can see some showers that are being picked up here on Futurecast here by the middle of next week, maybe even as early as next Tuesday. But it's going to be a fairly moisture-starved system. So at this point, I'm still not anticipating a lot of rainfall out of it. Looking at precipitation outlook from the Climate Prediction Center, March 18th through March 22nd. There you can see we're in that below normal category. Once again, the darker shades here indicating the better chances of seeing below normal rainfall. So it's looking pretty promising that we're just not going to see much rainfall after today. All right, so the wave heights, you can see here, they're about 15 to 16 feet out here, but of course not as bad as you start heading closer to the shore. They will start to drop though as we go into your Wednesday. So that gale warning that we did have or has been allowed to expire. We do have that chance for showers. West winds at about 5 to 10 knots. Waves from the west at 11 feet at about 13 seconds. And there is your sunrise and your sunset. All right, so for today, just kind of looking across the area here, upper 50s, low 60s for the valley, mainly in the low to mid 40s for the higher elevations, but Trinity County, low 50s, low to mid 50s for the north coast. And looking at your 7-day outlook region by region, of course, the scattered showers today. I don't anticipate any thunderstorms. However, If we see a stray one, don't be terribly surprised, but it's not looking very promising. Then, of course, we go into Wednesday, we dry things out and warm things up going into the weekend. And this is going to be the trend for pretty much everyone here in Northern California. You've got the chance for scattered showers today, drying out by tomorrow, and warming up by the end of the week, and not to mention through the weekend. That's the case for Mount Shasta, Alturas, and Susanville, also looking at plenty of sunshine.